Your phone says it has no storage left. You've deleted apps, you've cleared photos, you've removed games you haven't touched in months, and still, that dreaded storage full notification keeps coming back like a bad dream. You're not crazy, you're not imagining it. There's a hidden folder on your phone quietly, continuously, aggressively consuming gigabytes of your storage in the background. And nobody told you it was there. Nobody told you what it does, and nobody told you that you are completely allowed to delete it. Until right now. Today, we are opening the folder that your phone manufacturer, your apps, and your operating system would all prefer you never found. We are going to name it, explain exactly what it's doing, show you where it hides, and walk you through exactly how to reclaim the storage that has been silently stolen from you. No technical background required, no third-party tools, no risk to your photos, your contacts, or anything you actually care about. Just the truth about what's eating your storage and the exact steps to stop it. Let's start with the biggest offender. The one that accounts for the most unexplained storage loss on the widest range of devices across both Android and iOS. It doesn't have one consistent name, which is part of why most people never find it, but it lives under several labels depending on your device and your apps. Cache, cached data, temp files, residual files, junk files. These are all names for the same fundamental category of hidden digital debris, and on an average smartphone that hasn't been manually cleaned in 6 months or more, this folder can consume anywhere from 4 gigabytes to over 20 gigabytes of your total storage. On a phone with 64 gigabytes of total capacity, that is a genuinely significant chunk of your available space. Gone, silently, to files you will never look at, never use, and never miss. Here's what cache actually is and why it exists, because understanding the problem is the first step to permanently fixing it. Every app on your phone is designed to run faster and consume less data over time by saving copies of things it has already loaded. Your Instagram app loads a photo from the internet. Instead of downloading that photo fresh every single time you scroll past it, it saves a compressed copy locally on your device. Next time it needs to display that photo, it loads the cached copy instead of re-downloading. Faster load time, less mobile data consumed, better user experience. The cache system is genuinely useful in concept. The problem is that it was designed without any meaningful automatic cleanup mechanism. The cache just grows and grows and grows. Instagram doesn't delete old cached photos when you haven't opened them in a month. YouTube doesn't clear buffered video data when you've moved on. Google Maps doesn't purge the tile data for cities you visited once in 2021. The app just keeps stacking layer upon layer of saved files into a hidden folder that your phone's main storage display doesn't surface clearly. And most users never know to look. On Android, accessing your cache data is direct. Go to Settings, then Storage. On most Android devices, you'll see a breakdown of what's consuming your storage. Apps, photos, videos, audio, system. Look for Other or Cache Data or Junk files, depending on your manufacturer's interface. Samsung devices running One UI have a Device Care or Battery and Device Care option that includes a storage cleaner showing cached and residual files in detail. Tap into that section, and you will very likely see a number that stops you cold. 4. Gigabytes. 7 gigabytes. On phones that haven't been cleaned in a year or more, sometimes over 10 gigabytes just sitting in cached data. Tap to clear it. The process takes seconds. Nothing you care about gets deleted. Your apps still work. Your photos are untouched. Your contacts are fine. What gets removed is the temporary data those apps accumulated. Data they will regenerate as needed the next time you use them. On iPhone, Apple doesn't give you a one-tap clear all cache button the way Android does, which is both a blessing and a frustration. The blessing is that iOS manages cache more aggressively in the background than Android typically does. The frustration is that when it doesn't manage it well enough, you can't just tap one button to fix it. Instead, you have to go app by app. Open Settings, then General, then iPhone Storage. Wait a moment for the list to fully populate. Now scroll through and look at the numbers next to each app. You'll see 2 figures for each, the app size itself and the amount labeled Documents and Data. That Documents and Data figure is where the cache and accumulated junk lives. If you see an app with a small app size but a massive Documents and Data number, say an app that should be 200 megabytes showing 3 gigabytes of documents and data, that app has a storage problem. The fix for individual apps on iOS is to use the Offload App feature, which removes the app itself but preserves its data, followed by reinstalling from the App Store. When the app reinstalls, it starts with a clean cache. Alternatively, for apps where you don't need to preserve any in-app data, simply delete the app entirely and reinstall it. But let's go deeper than generic cache, because there are specific hidden folders that are even more aggressive and even less understood. The first one is the WhatsApp Media folder. If you use WhatsApp, and with over 2 billion users globally, there's a very high probability you do, There's a folder on your device quietly accumulating every single photo, video, audio file, GIF, sticker, and document that anyone has ever sent you in any WhatsApp conversation. Every single one. By default, WhatsApp is configured to automatically download media when you're connected to Wi-Fi. This means that every photo your family shares in the group chat, every forwarded video, every voice note, every document, all of it gets saved locally to your device without you explicitly choosing to keep any of it. On a phone that has been used with WhatsApp for 2 or 3 years with active group chats, this folder can be consuming 5, 8, sometimes over 10 gigabytes of storage. Finding it on Android, open your file manager, navigate to internal storage, then WhatsApp, then media. You'll see subfolders: WhatsApp images, WhatsApp video, WhatsApp audio, WhatsApp documents. Open each one and prepare to be genuinely surprised by what's in there. Thousands of images, hundreds of videos, audio files from voice notes sent in conversations you barely remember. Sort by file size in the video folder specifically. Forwarded videos are almost always the single biggest storage consumers in this folder, and many of them are content you watched once and have zero reason to keep. Select everything you don't need and delete it. The originals still exist with whoever sent them. Your WhatsApp conversations are unaffected. You're simply removing local copies of files you've already seen. Finding it on iPhone, go to Settings, General, iPhone Storage, WhatsApp. You'll see the total documents and data figure. To clean it properly, you can go into WhatsApp itself, then Settings, Storage and Data, Manage Storage. This shows you a breakdown of which chats are consuming the most space, lets you see large files and forwarded content, and allows you to selectively delete. For heavy WhatsApp users, this single cleanup can recover more storage than any other single action on this entire list. The second specific hidden folder that shocks people when they find it is the Google Photos or iCloud Photos backup cache. If you use either of these services, and most smartphone users do, because cloud photo backup is one of those things that gets set up during phone activation and then never thought about again, your device maintains a local cache of thumbnails, preview images, and in many cases full resolution copies of photos that are supposed to be stored in the cloud. The theory is that keeping local copies makes your photo library load faster. The reality is that on a phone with a large photo library, this cache can balloon to enormous sizes entirely in the background. On Android with Google Photos, go to the Google Photos app, then your profile icon, then manage storage, then free up space. This function identifies photos that have already been safely backed up to Google's servers and removes the local copies, keeping only the cloud versions accessible through the app. On an old phone with years of photos, this step alone can recover 15, 20, or more gigabytes of storage. On iPhone with iCloud Photos, make sure Optimize iPhone Storage is enabled in Settings Photos. This setting automatically manages the balance between local storage and cloud storage, keeping full resolution originals in iCloud and smaller optimized versions on your device. If it was set to Download and Keep Originals, which stores everything locally in full resolution regardless of available space, switching to Optimize can recover enormous amounts of storage almost immediately. The third hidden folder that most people have never heard of is called the DNS cache, System Log Files, and Crash Reports folder. Every time an app crashes on your phone, the operating system generates a crash report, a detailed log file capturing the state of the device at the moment of the crash. These files are meant to help developers diagnose bugs. They are not meant to be kept forever. But on Android especially, these log files accumulate in a hidden system directory and never get automatically purged. On a phone that's been used for a year or more with multiple apps, this directory can contain hundreds or thousands of individual log files. Each file is small, but collectively they add up. Samsung's Device Care Cleaner typically catches these. On stock Android, third-party cleaner apps like Files by Google, which is made by Google itself and is therefore not the sketchy speed up your phone type of app to be avoided, will identify and offer to delete these files safely. The fourth hidden folder specifically relevant to Android users is the DCIM Thumbnails cache. Every time you take a photo, your phone generates a small thumbnail version for display in your gallery app. Those thumbnails are stored in a hidden folder called .thumbnails inside your DCIM directory. When you delete photos, the thumbnails don't always get deleted along with them. So you can have thousands of thumbnail files pointing to photos that no longer exist, quietly consuming storage for no reason at all. Open your file manager, enable the option to show hidden files. It's usually in the file manager's settings menu. Then navigate to DCIM and look for a folder called .thumbnails. On phones with large photo histories, this folder can be hundreds of megabytes to over a gigabyte. You can delete it entirely with no negative effect. Your gallery app will simply regenerate current thumbnails the next time it loads, which takes a few extra seconds and then it's done. The fifth hidden storage thief is one that surprises people the most because it comes from an app most people think of as completely lightweight, It is your streaming apps: Spotify, Netflix, YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Prime Video. These apps all offer offline functionality, the ability to download music, podcasts, and videos to watch and listen without internet connection. And they all manage those downloads in ways that are far less transparent than they should be. Downloaded playlists on Spotify don't just disappear when you stop listening to them. Downloaded Netflix episodes don't automatically delete after you've watched them. Podcast apps cache full episode audio for episodes you may have only listened to halfway. These offline media caches are stored in a dedicated local folder for each app, and they do not have aggressive automatic cleanup. A Spotify user who downloads playlists regularly and never manually cleans them can have 3, 4, 5 gigabytes of music files on device simultaneously. A Netflix user who downloaded a series for a flight 6 months ago and forgot about it might have 20 gigabytes of video files sitting untouched. For each streaming app, go into the app's own settings, not the phone's settings, the settings inside the app itself, and look for a downloads or storage section. Spotify has it under Settings, Storage. Netflix has it under App Settings, Downloads. YouTube Premium has it under Library, Downloads. Go through these and delete every offline file you don't actively need. You can always re-download. The files serve no purpose sitting on your device if you're not using them. The sixth hidden storage consumer is the most technical, but also one of the most impactful for heavy app users. It is called residual data from deleted apps. When you delete an app on Android, the app itself gets removed, but in many cases, the data folder that app created on your device does not get fully cleaned up. This is especially common with apps that used external storage directories, created shared folders, or stored data outside the standard app data sandbox. Go to your file manager, navigate to internal storage, and look through the top-level folders there. You may find folders named after apps you deleted months or years ago, folders that contain configuration files, saved data, log files, or media that was never cleaned up when you uninstalled the app. Identifying these is straightforward. If you see a folder named after an app you no longer have installed, that folder is residual data consuming space for no reason. Delete it. On iPhone, this is much less of an issue because iOS enforces a stricter sandboxing model where app data is contained within the app's own space and gets removed when the app is deleted. But even on iOS, certain apps that use iCloud storage can leave data in iCloud that persists after deletion and continues to count against your storage quota. Check Settings, your Apple ID name at the top, iCloud, Manage Account Storage, to see a breakdown of what's using your iCloud space and remove data from apps you no longer use. Let's now address the setting, the specific toggle, that can prevent much of this accumulation from happening in the first place. Because cleaning up once is good, but preventing the buildup going forward is even better. On Android, go into the settings for each of your most heavily used apps, especially social media apps like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and messaging apps, and look for an option to restrict background data or automatic media download. In WhatsApp specifically, Settings, Storage and Data, Media Auto Download. Set both when using mobile data and when connected to Wi-Fi, to download nothing automatically, or at minimum restrict automatic video downloads. This single change prevents WhatsApp from silently filling your storage with every video your contacts forward. For Instagram and TikTok, look for options to restrict data use or clear cache within the app settings, and disable any auto-download features. On iPhone, for apps that offer it, disabling background app refresh, Settings, General Background App Refresh, for apps that don't genuinely need it, prevents those apps from downloading and caching content when you're not actively using them. The broader habit that keeps your storage clean permanently is simpler than any setting. Once a month, spend 5 minutes on storage hygiene. Open Settings, Storage. Look at the top 5 consumers. Ask yourself whether what they're storing is actually serving you. Clear caches where they are bloated. Check your WhatsApp media folder. Check your Downloads folder, the general downloads folder that accumulates every file you've ever received or downloaded across every app, and which almost nobody ever manually cleans. Most people have hundreds of files in their downloads folder they've long since forgotten about, ranging from PDFs they opened once to APK files from appy installations to image files from web browsers. That folder alone, on phones that haven't been cleaned in a year or more, routinely contains 1 to 3 gigabytes of completely unnecessary files. Here's what nobody tells you about storage on modern smartphones. The manufacturers know about all of this. They know their apps, their default settings, and the third-party apps on their platform are collectively generating enormous amounts of storage-consuming debris on your device. And they know that when your phone fills up and slows down and starts showing storage warnings, a significant percentage of users' response is to buy a new phone with more storage. Storage accumulation is, from a certain cynical angle, a feature. Not for you, but for the upgrade cycle. Understanding this changes your relationship with the storage notification. When your phone says storage is low, your first response should no longer be, I need a new phone. Your first response should be, let me check the cache, the WhatsApp media folder, the downloads folder, the streaming app offline cache, and the residual app data. 9 times out of 10, that checklist recovers enough space to make the problem disappear entirely, on hardware you already own without spending a single dollar. Your phone has been filling a secret folder for months or years. Now you know where it is. Now you know what's in it. Now you know how to delete it, how to stop it from refilling as fast, and how to check it regularly enough that it never becomes a problem again. Go clean it right now. The storage is already waiting for you to take it back.